You know, in the mountains and forests of just one South American nation, there's a botanical treasure so huge, so diverse, it's really a world all on its own. Today, we're diving into Venezuela and its absolutely astonishing kingdom of orchids.
So to really get a handle on just how big this kingdom is, let's start with a number. 1,632. That's how many different species of orchid call Venezuela home. I mean, think about that. That one country holds almost 9% of all known orchid species on the entire planet. It's an incredible concentration of life.
But you know, this isn't just about counting flowers. This amazing variety, it's like a living library. Every single species tells a unique story about the geology, the climate, and the journey of evolution. It's a direct signal of a ridiculously complex and rich ecosystem. Which, of course, brings us to the big question for this whole explainer. Why here? What is it about Venezuela specifically that created this perfect storm, this evolutionary cradle for orchids? Well, to figure that out, we've got to meet the queen of this kingdom.
All right, so to really understand this huge, sprawling kingdom, it helps to start right at the top with its queen. We're going to meet the national flower, Cattleya mossiae. And her story is just completely woven into the identity of Venezuela itself. So meet the Flor de Mayo, or the Mayflower. This is a big, beautiful, showy orchid, and it's endemic to Venezuela's mountain ranges. And endemic means you won't find it growing wild anywhere else on Earth. It's a plant that has become part of the very fabric of the nation. And the story of how this flower became a national icon is pretty fascinating. Yeah, it was officially declared the national flower back in 1951, but its cultural roots go way, way deeper. See, it blooms right around Easter time, so people started calling it the flower of the Nazarene, tying it directly to one of the most important religious moments of the year.
And get this. This isn't some dusty old historical fact. That tradition is alive and kicking today. The orchid is still a huge part of Holy Week celebrations. It's used to decorate religious statues and symbols, connecting this one little plant directly to the spiritual heart of the country.
So how in the world does a landscape produce a flower like that, plus thousands of other unique species? Well, the secret to Venezuela's orchid kingdom? It's a land of incredible extremes. Two totally different arenas that just forge diversity. I want you to picture two completely different worlds, sitting right next to each other. On one side, you have the Andean corridor. These are geologically young mountains that shot up pretty recently, creating these incredible, misty, humid cloud forests. Then, on the other side, you have the Guayana Shield, these ancient, flat-top mountains called tepuis that have been isolated for millions of years. This collision of the new and the ancient, well, that's the engine room of Venezuela's orchid evolution.
And this split in the landscape basically created two different career paths for an orchid. In the lush, wet Andes, they became epiphytes, the tree dwellers, just clinging to branches high up in the canopy. But on the harsh, bare rock of the tepuis, they had to evolve as lithophytes, the rock dwellers, learning how to survive on nothing but stone.
And the amount of life on these rock worlds, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. On just one of those tepuis, Aoyan Tepui, scientists estimate there are 50 million individual orchid plants. It's basically a vertical, hanging garden on a totally colossal scale.
So how do you survive on bare rock with no soil? Well, you get really, really creative. And this is one of my favorite adaptations ever. The Areopsis biloba orchid evolved roots that actually grow upwards, forming a little trash basket. This basket catches falling leaves and junk, which then rots down and creates its own private little compost pile, giving the plant all the food it needs to survive. Genius! Okay, but here's the thing. As amazing as the big, flashy flowers like the Cattleya are, they're not the whole story, not even close. The real secret to Venezuela's incredible diversity is much, much smaller. We have to look past the famous blooms to find the unseen majority. So think of these three groups as the ecological workhorses. You've got Epidendrum, they're the tough guys you can find almost anywhere. Then there's Oncidium, the dancing lady orchids, famous for their cool-shaped flowers. But the real powerhouse here is the Pleurothalidae, a massive group of often teeny-tiny orchids that completely dominate the cloud forests.
And that quote, right there, that's the secret sauce. So much of this amazing diversity is literally hidden in plain sight. A huge chunk of this biodiversity comes from these microorchids, with these delicate little flowers that are barely a few millimeters across. It's a miniature hidden universe. And some of these tiny flowers have evolved the most incredible mechanisms. Check this out. The Poroglossum orchid basically has a little botanical bear trap. It's got this touch-sensitive lip. When a tiny fly lands on it to investigate, snap! The lip springs shut, trapping the insect and pressing it right up against the part of the flower with the pollen. It's an active, spring-loaded pollination system. Absolutely brilliant.
So, we've seen this incredible world of adaptation and wild diversity. But, and this is a tough turn to make, this paradise is in peril. A lot of these amazing species are now in a very real fight for their survival.
And look, this isn't just us being dramatic. This comes from the Red Book of Venezuelan Flora, which is a serious scientific assessment documenting the status of the country's native plants. And what it says about orchids, well, it's a huge wake-up call.
Just look at this chart. It tells you everything you need to know in a single glance. It's focused on the 6 most prized Cattleya species, the close cousins of the national flower. And the assessment is, well, it's grim. 3 are critically endangered, 2 are in danger, and 1 is vulnerable. Bottom line, not a single one is considered safe. All 6 are officially threatened.
And this table here breaks down exactly why this is happening. The threats are coming from all sides. For some, like the Cattleya gascalliana, it's being over-collected for the flower trade. For the national flower itself, the Cattleya mossiae, its home is disappearing because of deforestation and growing cities. It's a multi-front assault on their very existence.
So, we started this whole journey with a flower that's basically part of a nation's soul. We found out it's just one of thousands of incredible species, born from this unique, complex landscape. And we end here with a really critical question. When a single flower represents both a nation's identity and the health of its entire ecosystem, what does it really mean to stand by and watch it disappear?